Hello and welcome to another thrifting related video, because as I've mentioned before, I really love thrifting, and specifically I love going to thrift stores. I think about 80% of my closet is thrifted, if not more, probably more. And it got me thinking, what if they were taken from me? What if there were no thrift stores around, or I just couldn't go thrifting? What would I do then? Luckily, this nightmare scenario has actually happened to me, so now I know the answer to these questions. You see, I grew up in an area where there were lots of thrift stores and most of them were open 7 days a week. And so I got really spoiled just about every week being able to go to several thrift stores and get my fix that way. However, I have since moved to a different country, to a mid-sized city where I found about 2 thrift stores in a 30-kilometer radius. And I do go to those, and I don't always walk out empty-handed, but they're quite small and it's just not the same. So over the years that I've been here, I've started looking into different ways of getting my greedy little hands on secondhand clothing. And so today I thought I would share my favorite pieces that I accumulated, as well as just tell you a bit about how I got them and share my pros and cons to these thrift store alternatives. So I'll be going over a list of different ways of getting secondhand clothing. I'll be showing my favorite pieces, I'll be styling them and talking about what I like about it, what I maybe don't like so much about it. First up on the list is secondhand online retail. With that I mean companies selling secondhand clothing or other items for profit. The one in particular that I have most experience with, people send in their clothing, they get a certain amount of money for that, and then the company resells the clothing for profit. One of the first pieces I got from there was this skirt. It's just a little mini skirt with ruching on the sides and a pointy hem. It's really cute. This skirt is by the brand AX Paris, and I don't remember what I paid for it. This next item from the online seller is this dress. I just love the whole mesh and the lettuce hem on the sleeves and the bottom of the skirt. The whole top part is completely see-through though, so it's been a bit of a challenge trying to layer this or style it, but I still really love it, and I think it's kind of unique. It's by the brand Flea. I don't know how to say that. Next up is the item of clothing that I have by far worn the most so far that I got this way. It's this skirt, and I just love it so much. It has like a combination of this velvety mesh and lace, and it's just like my dream skirt. It's by the brand Biba. I think I paid a bit more for this than I usually like to spend on thrifted clothing. I think this was about 18 euros, but I'm glad I spent that money because I'm getting so much wear out of this. Another item that I really like is this dress. It's just so cool. It's quite unique. I do still have the tag on it because I haven't actually worn it yet. I've had it for quite a while, but it's just felt like a bit of a challenge to style it. But I love all the hardware details on it and the texture and the ruching and everything. It's by the brand Nu. Yeah, I got a really good deal on this, I feel. I paid about $12.50 for this dress, I think. This next item is actually a pair of shoes. I don't know if this is like really boring, but these are some leather lace-up boots by the brand Thrifting. I've just really loved their designs. I think these are called like boxing boots or boxer style boots in particular, and I was really excited to get these secondhand. They still cost quite a lot for my standards, but compared to buying them new, It was a really good deal and I wear these all the time. So the pros of online secondhand retail for me are that it's really accessible. It's basically the same as any other type of online shopping. Often you also can return items, which you can't do with any of the thrift stores that I would normally go to or any other method on this list. It is still cheaper and more sustainable than buying clothing new. The items have all been looked over and checked, and so there's sort of like a quality control there. And lastly, it's very easy to filter for things like size, color, brand, etc., which just makes it very convenient. My cons, however, for this method is that it's more expensive than the other methods on this list, as well as it just tends to be more expensive than thrift stores. I have to deal with a lot of packaging material, which from my experience, it's mostly like plastic. I don't love that element of it, the whole waste that comes with that. Another con is that it's not usually associated with any sort of nonprofit or charity, like a lot of thrift stores, charity shops are. It's just a company making profit. Number 2 on my list is online sellers, just people selling their items online, often on platforms like Depop. I've never really used Depop. I don't even think it's active where I live. I mainly use Vinted, but I know that there's others as well. The first item I wanted to show for this is this dress. This actually arrived yesterday. I haven't actually worn it out yet, but I'm really excited. It's adorable. It has a lot of lace detailing. It's by the brand Lipsy London. Including shipping, I paid €9 for this. The next item I want to show, and I hope it's not too loud, is actually an accessory. It's this belt. I just love it. I have been looking for a belt like this for so long when I found one. This doesn't have like a brand or store name anywhere on it, but I paid, including shipping to my house, about €8 for this. This next item is actually not something that I got for myself. It's something that I got for my boyfriend. It is this vintage leather bomber jacket. It's really hard to show what it looks like. I will show it on me, but it might look a little bit ridiculous because it's not my size. I think in total I paid €30 for this. I have cleaned it and fixed it up a little bit. Another item that I really love is this pair of shoes. It's by the brand Pieces. Yeah, it's just like a good basic little ankle boot to have. And speaking of shoes, I actually got this pair of Pikes on Vinted as well. They look a bit sad now because the buckles are all undone and they look a bit deflated, but I think they're really cool. They don't have any like brand on them. This last item is, I think, by far my favorite from the things that I've ever gotten this way. It's this like maxi length Kill Start cardigan with super cool dramatic sleeves. I think the item was listed for $15, including getting it to my house. I paid around €19 for it. So my pros for this way of buying secondhand clothing is that, first of all, it's also very accessible. There's different apps available, and so you'll likely find a platform that you like. There's huge variety on these apps usually. I also like that the sellers get to keep the money they make from their sales, because it's usually just people selling their own clothing that they don't use anymore, and the money is not necessarily going to a big for-profit company. What I also found is that it's a lot easier to find alternative brands and alternative styles, just because they don't often get donated to thrift stores. They don't often show up in these more mainstream online secondhand retailers. I've never found kill star at a thrift store, but these online apps where people sell their own clothing, they're full of it. I find a lot of Killstar, Punk Rave, Restyle, but also some older brands or more niche brands like Living Dead Soul and Vixen, Devil Fashion, Lip Service. Same for shoes. I see a lot of New Rock and Demonias and things like that you just would never see at a thrift store. Another thing I like about this is that, you know, you yourself can sell the items that you don't like anymore. Especially if, for example, like me, you have very little thrift stores around, there's very little places to also donate your items. So reselling them for cheap online can be a good way of bringing them back into people's wardrobes. Now, the cons for this weigh relatively heavy for me. The first one of that is you have to be wary of scams. I see a lot of listings that look very, very fishy. Always just be wary, don't just send over money. As well as from the seller's point of view, don't trust every potential buyer. I've experienced it many times where people try to send me links or try to say, oh, you need to pay me through this or that way, here, you need to sign up through this link, and just don't do it. I've personally never been like outright scammed. I've paid for one item that never arrived, but luckily that wasn't a lot of money and I just was able to brush that off. Yeah, stay vigilant when you do use these apps and use common sense. Don't click on any links people send you. Just stay very wary also about the personal information that you're giving away. Another con, and these are just a little bit nitpicky, is that because often when you find different things you like, you have to individually contact these different sellers and get them to ship it over to you and have to pay each individual person the shipping costs, and so it just kind of adds up with the amount of little packages that you're receiving. In my experience, a lot of people reuse old packaging to send items out. The packaging material is often recycled and or recyclable. I really appreciate that, but I just hate having to pay maybe like 10 bucks for 5 different little items just in shipping. Method number 3 is one that I am incredibly passionate about, and it's flea markets. Where I live, flea markets happen around every Sunday, and so when I have time and energy and money, I go every time I can. You can often find some really cool stuff there. One of my most recent additions to my closet through this is this blouse. It has this striped pattern of velvet and mesh. I love it a lot. I think it's very versatile, and I haven't worn it very often because I only own it for like a week and a half, but I really like it. It's originally from Zara. Another one of my favorite flea market items is this dress. I don't know if you can tell all of the pointy mesh details on it. This is also originally from the brand Flea. I haven't styled this very much because I feel this is hard to style as like a casual outfit, but we'll see. So this item I actually got really, really lucky. It's this wrap top with really cool dramatic sleeves. It's velvet, it's lace details, and it's originally from the brand Sinister. So this is one of the very, very rare occasions that I'm able to find alternative brands outside of online shopping. And then last but not least, this vintage leather coat. It's just so 80s and dramatic and long, and I love it so much. It's really comfortable. I just think it's fantastic. The brand that it's from doesn't really exist anymore. I love the like batwing sleeves on a leather jacket. Are you kidding me? I'm really excited because it's just gotten cold outside and I bought this in like March. Finally, I'm able to consistently wear it and I'm so excited about that. My pros for getting your secondhand clothing from flea markets is, first of all, it's fun. For me, I think it's the closest that I've gotten to the real thrift store experience over here. And I just love going there and browsing. I've also gotten jewelry there. The prices are often really affordable and negotiable. I just have so much that I've gotten from flea markets for like €1 each, or like just a few euros each. Every time you go there, it's different. There's different vendors. I just love that I can go basically every week and have a different experience every time. Now, there are some downsides to flea markets. One of them is that it's harder to find certain sizes. Small sizes or larger sizes are often underrepresented on these flea markets. And that's just an effect of these clothing items usually just coming from one person's closet. And so you will see more of the like average clothing size rather than like small and larger sizes. Another downside is that they're quite weather sensitive. So sometimes they don't take place in winter or in bad weather. So there happen to be several around me that take place in large parking garages. So those tend to always occur, but smaller ones or ones that are set to take place in parks or market squares, those tend to have to call off last minute when it's pouring rain. Also, not every town or every place has regular flea markets, and I'm just lucky that around where I live there's a lot of them. They're also very hit or miss. I have walked away from flea markets with like bags of stuff that I got for really cheap and it's all amazing, and I've walked away from them with like one item that I kind of overpaid for. You really can't expect to get certain items or to find certain things or really to be lucky at all, and that's okay. That's all I had for this one. Thank you so much if you made it this far into the video. Thank you for watching. I didn't end up filming a proper outro here, but that turned out okay because as I was editing this one, it seemed my first video got some traction and YouTube showed it to a bunch of people for some reason. So if you came back after seeing that one, I just want to say thank you for the support and thank you for coming back. It means a lot. It really surprised me to see all the positive reception, but I'm very grateful, and I hope everyone watching this video has a great week. And yeah, goodbye.